You have a goal. Maybe it's to start a business. Maybe it's to lose weight. Maybe it's to become someone that nobody in your life today even recognizes 5 years from now. That feeling, the rush, the ambition, the fire in your belly, it's real. But here's the brutal truth. Most people never reach their goals, not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't work hard enough, but because they talk too much about them. They leak energy through their lips. They let the world peek into a process that hasn't even started. They give away the power of silence and the fuel of focus in exchange for premature applause. The psychology behind silence. There's a study, a real one. Research has found that when people announce their intentions to others, they're actually less likely to follow through. Why? Because the act of announcing your goal gives your brain the same kind of satisfaction that actually achieving the goal would. It creates a false sense of accomplishment. When you say, "I'm going to get fit," and someone replies, "That's awesome," you just got a dopamine hit. Your brain registers that praise as progress. And guess what? You now feel less compelled to do the work because in your head, the reward already came. The power of intrigue. There's something magnetic about the person who works in silence. The one who skips the post, skips the bragging, skips the big announcement and just delivers. They're too busy becoming, too focused on building, too obsessed with improvement to need your approval. While others are updating their followers, these people are upgrading their reality, and eventually people notice. They start asking, "What's he been up to? She's really glowing lately." You've changed, and that's the only announcement you ever need. Your results. Why sharing your goals feels so good. It feels good to share. It feels powerful. You feel like you're stepping into the new you, claiming your future, making a statement. And in some ways, that's true. But more often, that sharing becomes a substitute for doing. Talking is easy. Planning is exciting. Execution, that's the war. When you tell your friends, "This is going to be my year," you're already cashing a check that hasn't cleared. And people will remember what you said, not what you did. Avoid the expectation trap. Here's the trap. When you tell everyone your goal, they start expecting. They watch, they wait, they hold you to it. And every misstep, every delay, every quiet period, it becomes visible. You become a prisoner of the promises you made out loud. And instead of feeling free to adapt, pivot, or even fail and retry, you feel judged, cornered, trapped. What will they think? Becomes louder than what do I want? Real growth is private transformation is messy, it's inconsistent, it's vulnerable, and it's better done in the dark. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it doesn't post midway photos. It hides in a cocoon, it dissolves itself, and it reemerges, reborn. Your growth deserves that kind of privacy because the early version of your dream is delicate, too fragile to survive under the heat of criticism, too new to be judged before it's finished. You don't build a house and invite people in before the roof is on. You wait, you finish, and then you let them see. Let your success speak. Think about the greats. You don't hear Warren Buffett tweeting about his next investment. You don't see Beyoncé posting her rehearsals. You don't catch Steve Jobs talking about prototypes. You see the final product. You see the launch. You see the success because they know that energy is sacred. And when you keep that energy close, when you protect it, you can channel it into action, not applause. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Let's be clear. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to justify your grind. You don't need to post about your fast, your study session, your side hustle, or your 5 a.m. alarm. You don't need validation. You need vision. Most people are addicted to the like button. They'll share every step, every plan, every quote. But the truth is, they're more interested in looking like they're growing than actually growing. Don't be that person. Be the one who disappears and comes back with receipts. Protect the flame. When you light a small flame, like a match in the wind, what's the instinct? You shield it. You cup your hands around it. You protect it from anything that might blow it out. That's exactly how your goals should be treated in their early stages, because that idea you just had, that dream you just whispered to yourself, it's fragile. And most people don't get it. They'll laugh. They'll doubt. They'll question, not always because they're bad people, but because your growth threatens their comfort, because your discipline reminds them of their laziness, because your boldness exposes their fear, so they'll try to extinguish it. Not with fire, but with comments, with sarcasm, with, "Are you sure?" With, "That's not realistic." That's why you don't tell them. That's why you don't give them the match in the first place. You protect it. You grow it. And one day, it's not a flame anymore. It's a wildfire. Do it quietly. Let it grow loud. There's power in being underestimated. When people don't know what you're up to, they don't know what to stop. When they don't see the process, they can't sabotage it. When they think you're stagnant, they're not preparing for your rise. And then, boom, you show up, stronger, sharper, 10 steps ahead. They say, "When did this happen?" And you just smile. Because while they were talking, you were transforming. This is the art of silent domination, of doing the work, stacking the wins, earning in private, and letting your presence be the announcement. Your goals aren't content. Here's the hard truth. If you post more about your goals than you work on them, you're not building, you're performing. And in the age of social media, that's the trap. You're not on a journey, you're in a show. But the applause is fake, and the only real thing is the result. You don't need to tweet about your hustle. You don't need a selfie in the gym. You don't need to broadcast your plans. The best moves are made in silence, because while others seek clout, you're building character. While they want clicks, you want clarity. And clarity comes from action, not attention. The grind is lonely, and that's a good thing. Success isn't crowded at the top because nobody wants to go. It's because most people quit before they even get there. Why? Because real success isn't glamorous. It's silent, it's repetitive, it's uncomfortable. It's choosing the gym when your body hurts. It's skipping the party when your friends ask. It's staying in on Friday night to study or build or brainstorm. And if you're always sharing that with the world, if you're always looking for sympathy, for likes, for encouragement, you're weakening the very muscle you need most, discipline. You don't need them to clap. You need you to keep going. Your circle might not understand. The moment you start leveling up, people around you will start to get uncomfortable. They'll question you. They'll mock you. They'll say you've changed, and you have. But here's the kicker. If you tell them your goals too early, they'll try to lock you in place, not because they hate you, but because your rise reflects their stagnation. So they'll say, "You, a business owner, you're not that smart. You've never stuck to anything before. Why don't you just be realistic?" And if you're not solid, if you've shared your goal before it's rooted in you, those words can uproot everything. That's why you stay quiet. That's why you keep your head down. That's why you wait until you've got momentum before you reveal your mission. The ego wants credit. The spirit wants progress. Your ego wants people to see you grinding. It wants credit before the work is done. It wants applause for the idea, not the execution. But your spirit, the deepest, most powerful part of you, doesn't care about attention. It craves growth. It craves purpose. It craves progress. And progress often comes when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you, your will, and the silence. When you stop telling people your goals, you stop performing, you start producing, you shift from "look at me" to "watch me." And that shift, that's when everything changes.